What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. Remember, before we get to those pitches, hit that subscribe button. Got lots of great interviews for you this off-season. You're not going to want to miss them, so hit subscribe. And now, without further ado, here are my filthiest pitches of the day. I'm going to start with Lance McCullers, who had 5 Ks in 4 1/3 innings, but that wasn't the big story. He gave up 7 runs on 6 hits with 5 home runs. First, here's the good. Here are some wicked sliders with 19 and 20 inches of break. These sliders had 3,050 and 3,144 RPMs and were filthy. McCullers also had these dirty changeups. Look at those things disappear. Despite this filth, the big story in the game was obviously McCullers getting shelled, giving up 5 bombs. One way of combating a filthy pitcher is for hitters to pick up the pitcher tipping his pitches. That is, picking up little tells so you know what pitch is coming. There's definitely some reason to believe that Lance McCullers was tipping somehow. As you see here, Bryce Harper basically screams out to Bohm in the on-deck circle to have him come over, likely to tell him to look for something McCullers was doing to tip his pitches. And Bohm was later interviewed during the game and asked about this, and he said, well, that's between us. So it definitely looks like something was up.
Harper say something to you at the on-deck circle. What was it? It's between us.
There was a video circulating online from Steve Johnson, that's at Leg Kick Nation OG, that shows McCullers lifting his glove differently and his leg differently on 2 different pitches. I also did an analysis during the game, and you can see he had a higher leg kick on his slider and a lower leg kick on his fastball in this video. So could that be how McCullers was tipping his pitches? Well, I don't know that it's that easy. McCullers has been in the league for a long time and has been successful. And if he was tipping his pitches that blatantly, well, everybody would know by now and he'd be getting teed off on. So this morning I went through and did a few overlays of pitches during that inning. And what I found is way more inconclusive. As you can see here, he definitely had different mechanics with his fastball and breaking ball on these 2 pitches. But then on these 2 pitches, he definitely had different mechanics, and these were both breaking balls. And finally, he also had the same mechanics when he threw his fastball and breaking ball here. So what does this all tell you? Well, it's very common for pitchers to change their mechanics with runners on base. You know, varying leg lifts, timing, etc., just to throw runners off so you're not predictable, and they can't get a good jump to steal a base. So while some people say, well, he definitely was doing this, I don't think it's that clear. And in case you're not familiar with pitch tipping, there's certainly nothing bad about a team picking up these tips. It's part of the game, as Dusty Baker says here.
TV cameras caught Bryce passing on a lot of info to his fellow hitters over there as someone who managed him for a few years, and he's obviously a pretty smart player. Mm-hmm. Does that not surprise you much, just whether it was tendencies or whatever he was seeing?
No, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, you know, he's a very astute baseball player, very astute person. And that's what teammates do. That's what good hitters do. They pass on whatever information that they can find and see. And now whether he passed on the information, you know, to actually help him, that's between him and his teammates. But no, that doesn't surprise me at all. That's what guys are supposed to do.
Importantly, I don't want any of this to take away from yesterday's filthiest pitcher, Ranger Suarez. Ranger went 5 innings, giving up only 3 hits and had 4 Ks. He had these pretty curveballs, as well as these inside 2-seamers, which is a great pitch for him. I know it's tough to tell because this camera angle doesn't pick up left-handed pitchers' arm side run that well, but these pitches were running up to 20 inches. So you have hitters thinking the ball's going to hit them, and they end up catching the zone. Suarez is a crafty pitcher and did a fantastic job last night. Heck, he was more than crafty. His fastball touched 96 miles an hour. That makes him more like a Power Ranger. Sorry. Now on to my filthiest relievers. Ryan Stanek had this filthy splitter and overpowering fastball. Jose Urquidy did a great job of eating innings yesterday, thanks to these nasty changeups. You might not think it's that important, but Urquidy going 3 innings saved the bullpen, so they'll be fresh today. Connor Brogdon had this vile changeup, and Andrew Bellatti had this wicked slider.
That's it.
And now, my Pitching Ninja moment of zen. We talked a lot about tipping pitches, And this is one of my favorite pitch tipping stories. Here's Eduardo Perez talking about how Randy Johnson tipped his pitches his entire career.
I go to Cooperstown, and I run into Randy Johnson. And Randy's with his son, and he goes, hey, come over here real quick. Why did he want to tell his son? He goes, hey, this guy hit 4 home runs off me. And I said, yeah, you're in the Hall of Fame, and I'm not. And he goes, how'd you do it? And I said, well, I'll tell you now that you're retired. So I said, Randy, show me your fastball. He goes, this is my fastball. I said, okay, show me your slider. And he goes, this is my slider. And I said, Randy. So I took a selfie with Randy myself.
Showing both.
And he goes, are you serious? I said, you still threw 99 miles per hour. I still had to hit it. Little lesson right here. There's the heater. Oh, can I see the slider? There it is. I love me some Randy. Love you, Randy.